With the looming threat of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs, a Buy Canadian movement has picked up across the country. You may have noticed it when you go into grocery stores or supply shops, a tag that tells you if the product you're about to pick up is made in Canada.
The headlines sound apocalyptic, but behind the drama is a very real movement reshaping shopping habits in Canada. Across cities from Vancouver to Toronto, Canadians are turning away from American brands, ditching US-sourced goods and rallying behind local companies. And the two names taking the hardest hits? Walmart and Amazon. Giants that built their empires on global dominance are now facing consumer resistance at their northern doorstep. So what triggered this boycott? It didn't appear out of thin air. For months, tensions between Washington and Ottawa have been simmering. The US slapped tariffs on Canadian lumber and dairy. Canada retaliated with duties on US farm products and whiskey. Then came the latest round of trade spats, new US visa fees hitting Canadian travelers, and new copper tariffs that rattled global markets. For many Canadians, this was the last straw. Social media lit up with hashtags like #BuyCanadian and Boycott USA. TikTok videos went viral, showing shoppers filling carts with Canadian-made products while leaving US brands on the shelf. On Instagram, influencers and activists shared lists of alternatives to Walmart and Amazon, urging followers to shop at Loblaw, Canadian Tire, and local co-ops instead. What began as symbolic protest quickly turned into a consumer trend. The numbers are staggering. Analysts estimate that sales of US-branded goods in Canadian grocery and retail stores are down 15 to 20% in just the past few months. Tourism boards report fewer Canadians booking cross-border shopping trips, and e-marketer projects that if trends continue, US retailers could lose tens of billions in annual sales from Canada alone. One viral claim suggests the total damage could reach as high as $80 billion. While the exact figure is debated, the direction is clear. The boycott is hitting hard. For Walmart, Canada was always a critical market. Since entering in the 1990s, the retail giant expanded aggressively, undercutting local competitors with cheaper prices and massive stores. But today, those cavernous aisles are quieter. Reports from Ontario and Alberta describe stores where US products, cereals, snacks, household goods, sit unsold. Some Canadians even film themselves walking past American brands on purpose, narrating their boycott for online audiences. Amazon is feeling the pain too. For years, it dominated Canada's e-commerce scene, capturing nearly half of all online retail. But now, Canadians are uninstalling the app in protest, switching to local platforms, or simply buying less. Amazon Prime membership signups in Canada reportedly dipped for the first time in a decade. Small Canadian startups like Well.ca are seeing surges in new customers, capitalizing on the backlash. And the boycott is spreading beyond retail. Travel agencies say cross-border trips into the US are down. Canadian consumers are canceling vacations to Florida and California, citing both cost and politics. Liquor stores report declining sales of US bourbon and whiskey, while Canadian whiskey brands enjoy a boost. Even McDonald's, once seen as immune to protest, is facing backlash, with hashtags urging diners to choose Tim Hortons or Harvey's instead. The economic stakes are enormous. Canada is America's second-largest trading partner. Every year, billions of dollars in goods flow north and south across the border. When Canadians start pulling back, the ripple effects hit American farmers, manufacturers, and retailers. And unlike one-time protests, this boycott is starting to look like a sustained cultural shift. Politicians are taking notice. In Ottawa, lawmakers are openly encouraging Canadians to support domestic businesses. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called for economic patriotism in response to US tariffs. Provincial leaders are offering tax incentives for local producers. In Washington, Trump has doubled down, dismissing the boycott as fake news and insisting US companies will be just fine. But behind the bluster, American executives are alarmed. Industry leaders warn that the situation could spiral. If Canada's boycott deepens, Walmart and Amazon could lose market share permanently. Once shoppers switch to alternatives, they often don't go back. Canadian retailers like Loblaw, Sobeys, and Hudson's Bay are rushing to fill the gap, promoting their 100% Canadian supply chains. If they succeed, US giants may never reclaim their dominance. And this isn't just about dollars. It's about identity. Canadians have long lived in the shadow of U.S. culture and corporations. Now, for the first time in decades, there's a surge of pride in buying local, resisting American influence, and asserting independence through shopping choices. One Montreal shopper put it bluntly in an interview: "If they want to punish us with tariffs, why should we reward them with our dollars?" That sentiment is spreading. For everyday Canadians, the boycott is also about fairness. Many feel squeezed by rising prices, currency fluctuations, and American policies that treat Canada as disposable. By turning to local goods, they see themselves both protecting their wallets and sending a message. It's protest and pragmatism rolled into one. The consequences for U.S. companies are already visible. Walmart's Canadian division has cut back on expansion plans. Amazon is offering unprecedented discounts to retain customers. Analysts say both giants may have to rethink their strategies, sourcing more local goods, investing in Canadian suppliers, and softening their American image. But whether that will be enough remains unclear. The ripple effects extend globally. Other countries are watching Canada's boycott with interest. Could this be a template for resisting U.S. economic dominance? If Canada, one of America's closest allies, is willing to push back this hard, what's stopping others? Europe has long bristled at U.S. trade tactics. Emerging markets like Brazil and South Africa are exploring regional alternatives to American tech platforms. The Canadian boycott may not stay Canadian for long. For Trump, the optics are complicated. On one hand, he can claim toughness, insisting that tariffs and disputes prove America won't be pushed around. On the other, images of empty Walmart aisles and shrinking Amazon sales tell a different story. America's aggressive trade policies may be backfiring, alienating even its allies. As the 2025 election heats up, Democrats are seizing on the chaos, painting Trump's trade wars as reckless and costly. And yet, supporters argue the boycott is overblown. They point out that Walmart and Amazon remain two of the largest corporations on Earth, with revenues in the hundreds of billions. A Canadian boycott, they say, won't topple them. It's a blip in a global empire. But even if the financial hit is survivable, the symbolic hit is devastating. Losing trust in a market like Canada, known for stability and loyalty, is a warning sign for investors worldwide. Consumers, meanwhile, are reveling in their newfound power. For decades, shoppers felt at the mercy of corporate giants. Now, with one collective decision, to buy local, to boycott, they're proving they can shake even the mightiest. It's democracy through the shopping cart. It's sending shockwaves from Toronto boardrooms to Wall Street trading floors. The question now is, how long will it last? If the boycott fades after a few months, Walmart and Amazon may recover quickly. But if it hardens into a permanent cultural shift, we could be witnessing the beginning of a new retail era, one where U.S. dominance is no longer taken for granted, and local pride reshapes global commerce. For now, the images speak volumes. Canadian shoppers turning their backs on U.S. goods, Walmart shelves filled with unsold cereal boxes, Amazon orders dropping, and hashtags trending worldwide as a new kind of consumer rebellion takes hold. 2 minutes ago, Walmart and Amazon looked untouchable. Today, they look vulnerable. And in the battle of tariffs, boycotts, and consumer power, the story is still unfolding.